Nick Wright, co-host First Things First. You know, he has been very pro Baker Mayfield. I have been very cautious with Baker Mayfield. There's a lot of nonsense I don't like. So joining me via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network, would you even acknowledge, Mr. Wright, would you even acknowledge it is troubling with the kind of roller coaster, awful against Tennessee, awful against San Francisco, excellent against Baltimore, that some of that inconsistency, you could kind of connect that to Baker's inconsistency and immaturity, that, you know, Baker sometimes his stuff, his personality gets him into a little trouble. Is that unfair to say?
I don't know if it's his personality, but I do know this. Baker Mayfield's been a train wreck this year. I sat here on this show 6 weeks ago and said of the young quarterbacks after Patrick Mahomes, Baker would be my first pick. You asked me if I had a television because I took him in front of Deshaun Watson. I said yes. And listen, Baker in every category, it looks disastrous. If these were his first 5 games, if we didn't have last year, where, by the way, it should not be forgotten, last year he did set the NFL record for touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback, we would be gravely concerned. We knew going into this year the offensive line could be an issue, and we knew going into this year a guy who 12 months ago, the highest he had ever gone in an organization was running backs coach, being your head coach could be an issue. What I didn't know, and maybe you did, was that Baker could regress to this point. In every statistical category, he's been a bottom 5 quarterback so far this year. The only quarterbacks since Baker's become a starter to throw as many picks as him are Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Jameis Winston, and Jared Goff, a quarterback who I also have concerns about. I'm not selling all my Baker stock, but unlike you with Bitcoin as of late, I'm not buying more. I'm going to hold what I have and just see. I'm going to try to ride this out for now.
I did say this. I feel like when they get Kareem Hunt November 10th, you're asking Freddie Kitchens to now use Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Odell Beckham, Kareem Hunt. Next year, David Njoku, a terrific tight end. And I look at it and I think to myself, this would be asking Sean McVay a lot. This is a lot of mouths to feed. Odell Beckham right now and Baker, it feels forced. They have major offensive line issues. I would go and call the Redskins and say, we'll take Trent Williams, you get OBJ. I just feel like it's not working. It feels forced. They've got to solve their O-line issues. Is that crazy?
Well, it's two separate things. Should they try to trade for Trent Williams? Yes. Would effectively trading a 1 and 2 threes, which is what they gave up for Odell, would that be overpaying for Trent Williams? Yes. Would giving up on Odell right now be crazy? Absolutely. Like, my God, I'm glad you weren't one of the executives in the first 5 weeks of First Things First. Chris and I didn't have our chemistry exactly right. I'm not one of the foundational 4. You'd have been like, get rid of this kid. He was good with me, not good elsewhere. Give it time, man. We can't throw Odell out after a month of football. He's the most talented player on their offense. I believe they will get it together. And I don't still understand why. If your belief is you got to move on from one of the receivers, it's the guy who's been better than Jarvis at every step of their career. They will make it work with Odell, I believe, and you don't give up on him before Halloween of his first year there.
So NFL execs, listen, there's a lot I know about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's a franchise guy. He's the best quarterback in his division. He'll probably dominate the AFC for 12 years. He's worth every penny. But if you're asking me, can he win the individual single game? No, that's what I don't know yet. Think it'll happen, but he's 1-5 in his biggest 6 NFL games, 0-4 in his last standalone primetimers, and NFL executives gave him half as many votes as Tom Brady for the one game, one quarterback. Don't you think, even as a Mahomes fan, that's a little ridiculous?
I think it's ridiculous that anyone would claim Tom Brady right now is the guy they'd want at this. Listen, you don't get GOAT credit. I got a lot to say on here, so give me a second.
Okay.
First of all, Brady's played one defense all year. In that defense, it was the Buffalo Bills. He had the worst game he's had in 13 years. That's just a fact. The other 4 defenses he's played are combined 1-17. So let's take a deep breath and recognize he's 42 years old, and it kind of looks like it this year. That's first of all. Second of all, the 1-5 for Mahomes' 6 biggest games. I'm not sure what you're using to define them other than, well, he's 1-1 in the playoffs, and I'm going to pick his other 4 biggest games as 4 losses because he only has 5 other losses. So I'd like to see the equation on what those games were because he did get the 1 seed last year. 2 other points on this. One is I want the audience to understand that Colin, however frustrating this is, not only is this totally authentic, this is who he is off the air. I'm going to betray a confidence. I'm going to read a text from you, the last one I received. This is right after the Chiefs lost on Sunday night. Yeah. Colin texts me this. In our house, we call Mahomes Mr. Fancy Passer. We also call Tom Brady once a year to congratulate him on another Super Bowl. And then a goat emoji. This is who that man is right there. And it is the most frustrating thing I've ever experienced. And now, lastly, I'm going to say this, and it's a question for you. If Patrick Mahomes had beaten Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game last year to go to the Super Bowl, would you have considered that winning the game? Would that have been proof?
Yes, of course. AFC Championship, beating Tom in that moment, absolutely.
Okay, so then I remind you that the way that game went was after Patrick Mahomes played a terrible half of football. He led his team to 31 second-half points against a defense that since then, by the way, has allowed 2 touchdowns in 24 quarters of football, including the Super Bowl. He led his team to 4 touchdowns and a field goal in the second half to take the lead. And that game ended with Tom Brady, your hero, your icon, the man I assume you pray to in the evenings, throwing an interception to end the game. And D Ford was offsides by 3 inches, and Patrick Mahomes never touched the ball again. So if your belief is, I would believe in Patrick Mahomes had he won that game was won. Brady threw a pick, it was over. So Mahomes has already done enough to prove it to you. You just need, Brady could be Jordan with the Wizards at this point. You're still going to say, man, I want him taking the last shot. I don't feel that way, and I think there were 7 GMs that got this right. I don't know what the guy who picked Big Ben, what he was thinking. I assume it's Kevin Colbert. And those 14 who picked Tom Brady, you don't get legacy points in this. It's not in the history of the league at their apex. One guy is at his apex. Another guy has been mediocre at best this season, carried by his defense and his coaching staff.
But I was going to ask another question, but just read the text one more time.
Ain't no time.
Yeah. So
okay,
I can tell you this. I did send this text to him after the Chiefs lost. Go ahead. This makes me laugh.
Yeah. Well, I'll go a text further back. Chiefs defense will be their undoing. From Colin Cowherd, 9:21 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday night, as I'm stewing in the Chiefs' loss and my financial ruin. I respond, Patriots offense ain't that good. I like our chances. He responds, in our house, we call Mahomes, quote, Mr. Fancy Passer, end quote. We also call Tom Brady once a year to congratulate him on another Super Bowl. Oh, yeah. New text, a goat emoji, and that's the last we've spoken until right now. And it is infuriating. Just totally infuriating.
You know, it's funny. Nick never sent any message back on that. He wouldn't even respond.
I believe that.
So I knew he was furious. I knew he was so mad.
I really like your brand of trash talk,
I'm still
Colin.
mad. Our relationship is now 12 minutes once a week here. That's it.
Nick Wright, first things first. Good seeing you, buddy.
See you, man.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.